Social anxiety is a very common form of anxiety disorder. Somebody suffering from social anxiety will feel feelings of intense fear in situations where they feel like they might be judged or criticized by others, like activities like speaking in public, meeting new people, going on a date, being at job interviews, even something as simple as talking to someone in a shop. Like everyday things, even like using the public toilet, may cause these feelings of anxiety in someone. Now, the fear that someone with social anxiety feels can be so intense that it often feels like it's out of their control. And for a lot of people, this fear might interfere with a lot of activities in everyday life, like going to work, going to school, and doing everyday things. Now, while it's true that a lot of people can get through these activities, it doesn't stop them feeling that fear. Now, people with this social anxiety disorder will often worry about engaging in a social activity weeks prior to that activity, and they'll end up avoiding those situations just to protect themselves from that fear of embarrassment and distress. Now, it's something that we've all kind of experienced. We've all been nervous about going for an interview, taking an exam, talking to a new client, something along those lines, something a social activity will involve. But for some people, it's that feeling of such intensity that, like we said before, it feels like it's way beyond their control. Now, these are my tips for actually dealing with those emotions, those feelings of anxiety and fear. Now, the first one is learn to control your breathing. Now, a good technique is to sit up straight, keep your shoulders relaxed, breathe in for 4 seconds. You can keep your hand on your tummy for this, like you're expanding your stomach when you're breathing. Hold it for 2 seconds and then breathe out for 6 seconds. Now, this is especially good for people who are often planning on going to something that's going to cause this anxiety. So before you engage in that activity, this is a great breathing method to calm your nerves, to calm the body, and to calm the mind also. Number 2, exercise. Now, exercise is great for releasing that tension that's stored in the muscles when we suffer with anxiety, when we experience that fear and anxiety. Exercises like jogging, tai chi, yoga, which is all to do with the breathing, stretching the muscles. That's a great way of releasing that built-up tension that is stored in the muscles when we're constantly feeling that anxiety attacking us. So it's very important to allow that to get released, otherwise it's going to have severe physical health problems in the long run. Number 3 is take small steps. Don't jump into big social situations right away. So you're not going to go stand up in front of 100 people and do a speech for your first kind of test. You'll gradually build up your ability as your confidence increases. So number 4 is learn the art of listening. Now, people love to be heard, they love to be listened to. And for someone who's very nervous in social situations, to be a great listener is a really good way of dealing with this social anxiety, because conversation is not all about talking, it's also about listening. So if you can become a good listener, you will get the other person to do more talking and you having to do less talking. And that way the conversation can flow much more naturally, and it also takes the focus off of you. And number 5 is keep that inner voice in your head always in check, because it's going to be telling you things that you don't want to hear, like you're really scared of doing something, you're not good enough to do this is such a scary situation. But in fact, you've got to turn that around. You've really got to work on turning that inner dialogue around. So instead of saying to yourself, I'm so scared, I'm not good enough to do this, I can't do this, you've got to turn that around. Yes, this may be a big challenge for me, but I've got this. This is way within my ability, and I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go into it with everything I have, and I'm going to do a great job. Because what we tell ourselves repeatedly is eventually what we will believe about ourselves. and we can do anything if we tell ourselves that we can. So inner dialogue is so important for keeping that anxiety down. Yes, you may be a bit worried about something. If something is a challenge, nerves are actually absolutely natural, but keep telling yourself you can do this, you've got this, because in fact you really have, and you can do anything as long as you believe that you can.